Hey guys, this is Mark for the Gun Guy channel, and a while ago we did a video and we asked the everlasting question, what could be more fun than shooting a lever action rifle? And the answer to that question is shooting a lever action rifle chambered in 5.56 that accepts AR magazines. And that is the gun we are looking at today, the Henry Supreme. We're going to look at this gun right after this. Hey everybody, this is Mark and welcome back to the Gun Guy channel. This is our first video for 2025 because I was down for a bit with COVID and then the flu. So don't let them fool you. The vaccines don't work. But we're back, and today we're talking about the Henry Supreme rifle, chambered in 5.56 and 223. And we're talking about this rifle because it's really an important rifle for folks like me who live in the states that aren't so free. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to unbox the rifle, talk about the specs, break it down, show you how to clean it, because that's what you're supposed to do when you get a new rifle, even though I really don't do that all the time. But on this particular gun, because I've been waiting 2 years to get my hands on it, we're actually going to listen to what the manual says. But before we do that, if you've been watching the channel, please subscribe. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like it, let us know what we could do more. And please sign up for notifications. That way, when the videos come out, you'll be some of the first to know. Anyhow, like I was saying, I heard about this gun at SHOT Show 24 and at all the conventions since. And I would literally go and just bug the people at the Henry booth about when was this gun coming out. And so I think the only people more excited to have the gun come out on the market was the guy who I've kept bugging, so I wouldn't have to bug him anymore. Finally! He did say that he could get me on a wait list to get an editorial copy of the gun so I could test, but as fate would have it, I actually called one of the local gun stores and they literally had one left, so I snatched it up. And honestly, I was super happy to do it. It is probably the first gun, not probably, it actually is the first gun that I just bought over the phone with a local gun store. I didn't even see it, but I had handled the gun at those conventions. Anyhow, I got mine for right around $1,100, and for me, it seemed like a deal. I think the retail on this is $12.99. If you were lucky to get some of the first ones out, you could probably get them around $9.75 online or at your local stores. Right now, they are really difficult to find. So it's about as tough as finding a Democratic senator who likes Robert Kennedy.
There's a lot of ways that you can influence news.
So if you can find them online, these are selling for north of $1,500. But have heart. I did talk to the people at Henry and they said they are manufacturing these and they're shipping them out as we speak. So hopefully there'll be a lot more of these on the market soon.
But I want to know.
So, a lever action gun in 5.56 223. I can already hear the AR guys going, but why? Because some people in states like my own can't buy ARs, so that's why. Let's start with some of the other reasons. First of all, lever action rifles are just fun and awesome. In fact, I really do enjoy shooting them as much or even more sometimes than ARs. Which is convenient because, as I said, I live in a non-free state where we can't buy ARs anymore. If you want to shoot 5.56 or 223, your options are ridiculously limited in those jurisdictions where ARs are banned. And quite frankly, you know, it's a great round. It's super versatile to shoot. It's affordable, you know, relatively speaking. If I buy ammunition bulk online, I can get rounds of 5.56 223 36 cents a round, roughly, right? If I go to 300 Blackout, you know, on its best day, I'm paying 50 cents. I don't even want to think about 3030s or 6.5 Creedmoors because I don't want to take a second mortgage out on my home. So if you're into, you know, target practicing or hunting or home defense, it's a really solid round and it's a really affordable round. So for those of us who do not live in states where you can buy ARs, there are practically no semi-automatic rifles that are legal. For example, in Illinois, right? ARs, just forget about it. Even some of the stuff you might think is legal, nope, it's not. The Illinois State Police have a long list of almost every iteration of every semi-automatic rifle you can imagine, and they specifically exclude most of them. Like I said, you can count the ones that are legal in the state on one hand, and that hand can be a guy who worked in a wood factory his entire life.
Oh, is my face red?
You do have a couple of single shots, some break actions. There are, I believe, 3 pump actions. We actually did a review on one of them, and a ton of bolt actions. So at the smorgasbord of gun life, if you live in Illinois, prepare to die of starvation.
Please, sir, I want some more.
What?
Which is why, for those of us in the state, this is really an important gun, and I'm incredibly happy that I got my hands on one. What makes this rifle unique, as far as I can tell, is it takes AR magazines, which affords you a higher capacity than the 5-round flush magazines that come with most of the lever actions. That's a nice option, particularly for home defense. And it is true, like most of these, even the Henry Long Ranger comes with a flush mount 5-round magazine, which is beneath my state's limit. In our state, we can have magazines that hold up to 10. You know, it's nice to have an AR magazine that you can do that with, because it's one of the few things that we're afforded in this state. Anyhow, with no further ado or me blabbering on about how excited I am to have this gun, let's get to it and unbox it. So let's take a look at what's in the box. Henry, made in America or not made at all. And surprise, surprise, there's a gun in the box. This gun does come with a manual, and the manual is really helpful because it's such a new gun. You get an inspected tag, a Henry tag. You get a 10-round PMag AR magazine, and this will hold 10. You also get a limiter if you want to, for some reason, put this in. That way you can limit this to 5 rounds. I think that's because if you want to use it for hunting in certain jurisdictions, you need a 5-round magazine to hunt. And then you also, in here, have a little Allen wrench hex key, which is being used to adjust the trigger. We'll get to that later on. But basically, there is an adjustable trigger in this gun, and you can add or take away about 1 pound of trigger weight. And then you also have, most importantly, this beautiful, beautiful rifle. So we are going to take away the box and get into talking about this Henry Supreme rifle right now. All right, so let's start out with a very broad view of the gun itself. So this gun has an overall length of 38.15 inches with a barrel length of 18 inches. And this is, as you can see by the markings, the 223 Remington 5.56 NATO gun. There is a 300 Blackout version of this gun, which comes with a 16.5 inch barrel. The other thing that you're going to notice right away, and it was strange the first time I saw it, strange when I took it out of the box, is this is a lever gun with no hammer. And what we'll do, we'll go ahead and clear it. Nothing in there, nothing in there. But I was expecting, because on most lever guns, you'll see the bolt come all the way back. It does not do that on this gun. So when we work the lever, right, it is all internal on this gun. So I'm kind of curious when we break it down to give it a quick cleaning what that looks like. But I'm guessing the bolt carrier group on this gun has got to be incredibly small. So that's kind of neat. In regard to the overall weight on the gun, they say it comes in at 6.65 pounds. And honestly, you know, it feels every bit of that. If anything, it feels a little bit more. We can give it a quick weight and see where it comes in. All right, there we go. And the winner is 6.5 pounds. So pretty darn close to what that is. So they speak the truth. You can tell they're not politicians. The rate of twist on this gun is 1 to 8. And you'll see it has got just a really, really pretty walnut stock. I know there are guys who like black guns out there. I personally always just love wooden furniture on a gun. The length of pull, which is basically the distance from the trigger to the back of the butt, is 14 inches. So it's about a ½ inch longer than's normally comfortable for me. I like it to be around 13.5, but you know, ½ inch, either way doesn't really matter. That's what she said. No, I'm just kidding. Anyhow, it's got a really nice rubber butt on it.
That's what she said.
I am assuming that the recoil on this gun is going to be just non-existent given the weight and the rubber butt. You'll also notice that there is a traditional Tang safety on this gun. It does come also with some interesting iron sights. So they say that these are proprietary, patent pending, and it is kind of unique. I don't know if you can see it, but it's almost triangular, trapezoidal, and given the front blade, it makes a really, really interesting sight picture. I'm kind of excited to shoot this. I do like shooting iron sights, but if you don't like shooting iron sights, this is a aerospace aluminum receiver, and it's already drilled and tapped. And it is drilled and tapped specifically for a Weaver 63B rail, according to the manual. The manual, which is unfortunately sitting at home because I took it out to go over the specs for the video. Anyhow, so this is a Weaver rail, and you can see it matches up pretty well either way, right? Henry also makes a proprietary Picatinny rail, which fits on this gun. And it's nice because, at least for the optics that I have, this gives me a little bit more flexibility. But either way, however you want to go, it's already drilled and tapped, and it looks to be a very simple fix to get optics on this particular gun. In regard to the barrel, and I don't know if you guys can see, depending on the angle, but this is indeed a free-floating barrel, which, again, according to the website and the manual, is supposed to be able to deliver sub-MOA groupings. That's probably true if you are an infinitely better shot than I am, but you know, we'll see how it performs out on the range. It's also threaded to accept whatever kind of accessory you'd like to put on there. Now, the trigger, the action on this gun is just really nice. It's one of the first things, you know, you always like to play with when you have a lever action, you know, kind of doing the Chuck Connors thing. And Henry, I've got to give him props. Honestly, all the lever actions that I get from Henry, that I have in my collection, they probably out of the box have some of the smoothest action possible. And The trigger on this gun has an adjustable trigger, and the Allen wrench that comes in the accessory bag allows you to turn it up or down 1 pound. But as it sits out of the factory, it's supposed to be set for 4 pounds, and honestly, it's just a beautiful trigger. I mean, there's sub-millimeter in creep on that, if any. Right, and it just feels really nice. Let's see what the meter actually says. All right, we're going to clear this and pick it up, and 2 pounds, 0.3 ounces. £1 pound, 13 ounces. £1 pound, 13.5 ounces, and we'll do one more. Let's do it this way, just see if I'm doing something terribly wrong. 2 pounds, 6 ounces. So it's got a really light, beautiful, crisp trigger, which brings us to the safety. It's a traditional Tang safety, so it is ambidextrous, safe, hot, but again, the trigger's just completely lovely on this gun. It comes with a 10-round AR magazine. So according to the manual, you want the lever open when you put the magazine in. That way, as soon as you close the action, you are also chambering around. So I would imagine that's why they do it. In regard to the removal, you can simply press here and it will shoot out. Now, you can also put it in that way, and then you could rack around into place. Okay. The really, really nice part about this gun, for those of us in states where you can't have ARs or semi-automatics that are shooting 5.56 or 223, is you can use AR magazines. Now, in my state, the limit is 10. If you're in a state where there isn't a limit, you know, have fun with it, because you can take a 20-round magazine, if it's legal in your jurisdiction, pop it in here, and you're saving yourself a lot of hand wear and tear loading that magazine when you're out at the range. That is really the gist of it. You can obviously add slings to it. The other thing that I really like, which is just kind of a nice touch, is the Henry logo is actually engraved in the stock, and again, just a beautiful gun. I don't think I've been this excited to shoot a rifle in a really, really long time, so I can hardly wait to get this out to the range. But before we do take it out to the range, because the gun comes lubed up with some factory oil, which is a little bit heavier than you want most of the time, we're going to take this apart and just give it a quick wipe down. One of the reasons that I'm also doing this is when I was online, because the gun's so new, there's just there aren't a lot of videos out on how to do this, how to break the gun down. According to the manual, it seems pretty darn easy. So for those of you who have seen me try to do this before, you know, if there is a way to screw this up, I will, so you don't have to. So let's give that a go right now. All right. First, you get the magazine out, which we already did. Check and make sure there is no nasty live ammo in the gun. There's not. For purposes of this, you want the action open. And there are 2 pins to take this down. And they're non-directional, so you can take them out in either direction. And we're just gonna grab this, see if that's about the right size. And let's pop that through. There we go. Put that on the little magnetic spot so that we don't lose that, because I'm sure there's a spring in here that we can manage to lose later. Move that a little bit there. All right. So step one, you take those out, and honestly, it's already kind of coming apart. Take it, move it. There we go. Slide it up like that. All right, so you gotta twist this thing up instead of pulling it straight back, and there we go. I did prove that I was right. I was gonna screw it up so you don't have to. You're welcome. Here is the carrier group, and it really is tiny. So there's your firing pin. Your bolt carrier group is here. The bolt is right here. Cam is right there. I am not going to take this apart right now, but I am going to give it a quick wipe down, and we're going to just lube this part up. But you can kind of see how this works, right? Well, maybe you can't, because I can't hold it properly. But anyhow, it is there, and boy, it slides forward into place like that. So that's kind of how this action works internally. And again, it's really interesting for me that the bolt's not coming back like on a more traditional lever action. So we're going to lube this part up a little bit, wipe it down, and then put it back together super quick and go from there. So again, just going to give this a real quick wipe down. Doesn't look like it was too heavily coated with goop from the factory. Because this is the sliding part right here, I believe that's probably the rails. Yeah, it looks to be. The inside of the receiver seems pretty good. We're just going to take a little bit of lubricant. Let me get in here, clean this real quickly. Again, it's not really bad at all. So take that. Run a little lube there. Run a little lube there. Put some on this. Again, being pretty judicious with it. I believe this is another part that we'll want to run. So, and that's it. We're going to put this back in. There we go. Let's see if that looks. There we go. All right. So once you get it, it's not that tough. You do need to put the bolt carrier group in first and slide it in. So it's kind of the opposite of what you're doing when you're taking it apart. Okay? Take the pins. Line up the holes. Again, it's non-directional, so it'll go in either way. Just get them in flush. All right, and there you go. So we are good to go to the range now. That honestly wasn't as hard as I thought. It took well under 13 hours, which is the normal time it takes me to put one of these back together again, so I'm pretty happy about that. We're going to take this out to the range. We're going to see how it shoots. Then I'm going to give you my final thoughts. Thanks for sticking around. I can't get my cheek weld right with this gun for some reason. So like, if it's here,
Yeah.
like, I'm viewing right through the corner. I'm just shooting high. There's unusual. I'm shooting high left. Okay. Not bad. There you go. So, easier on the light. High again. Maybe it's just me. Okay. Better. I aimed here, just kind of blind raised it a little bit. But it worked. It worked. So. Hey guys, so we are back from the range and wanted to give you some final thoughts on this gun. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I love this gun completely. However, you'll probably notice I wasn't shooting a lot, and I wasn't shooting particularly great. And for those of you who have seen a lot of the videos, the not shooting great is not necessarily a surprise. But not shooting a lot is, and the reason is, you know, I have trouble seeing. My eyes are old, right? And as my doctor says, you know, sport at your age, that's just how it is. So it really is difficult for me to see with certain sights.
Get fittings done here.
And I love the action. The gun operated really easily. So like this action is just silly smooth and very easy, and you don't have to work it like you do some lever actions. Like you can literally go smooth and slow, and it is extracting no matter what. The trigger was great. The problem that I had was really the sights on this are, you know, I'm going to call them target, although I don't think they're technically target. So it's a blacked out rear sight with a front post that's also black. So that made it really difficult for me to see against a black target, as opposed to when I was just shooting the white paper. It was much easier to get a sight picture. But the other problem that I had, and this completely caught me off guard, was I was having a lot of trouble getting a sight picture with the ear protection on and with the corrective lens that I shoot with, because the corrective lens usually requires me to focus somewhere in the middle of the lens. And when I was shooting the rifle, it had to be closer to the inner part of my eye. And the cheek weld, and I'm just going to hold it up, right? So for me to get a cheek weld, it's pretty darn high on this gun. So it's almost at my cheekbone. On a traditional lever action, and this is just a Rossi 92, right? And these guns are cleared, obviously. It's much lower and much easier for me to get that sight. So it doesn't interfere with the hearing protection. And honestly, it was just kind of a challenge for me to do that. Now, if I wasn't wearing ear protection, or it would be easier. Also, the last time that I shot this gun at some of the conventions, there was a red dot on it. And that was perfect because that lifted the optic enough so that I could just have a normal cheek weld. But if you'll see, and I think the reason that this is, I'm going to try and hold these both up for you. Here's the Henry, and here's the traditional, lever action. The receiver is just so much higher than on the traditional lever, that's probably why the cheek weld is coming in where it is. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some rails on this, throw some optics on, and then we'll take it out to the range again. But in regard to if you're not ancient and you can actually see, you probably won't have that issue with both the sights. You might have it with the cheek weld and the hearing protection, but there are workarounds for that as well. But with the optics, no problem, like I said when I've shot it before. The lever action super smooth, trigger super crisp. The recoil is, non-existent. And honestly, when I could see what I was shooting at, which was not terribly far out against white paper, I was getting offhand, probably sub 1 or 2 inch groupings, which for me is pretty good. So honestly, I do recommend this gun. I think it's a great gun. I think it is a great lever action that shoots in 5.56 and 2.23. If you can find one, get one. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please let us know your thoughts. Leave some comments. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and see you next time on Doug Gun Guy channel.